We need to talk. Have you noticed that over the past year, ChatGPT and other AI technology just like that have been really hype? You've been hearing so much about it.
This is the greatest thing ever.
But what about lately? Does it seem like that a lot of the AI news and AI hype has been dying down? What if I told you that you're not the only one that's been feeling that? In fact, we've been seeing this across the AI industry in general. What's been happening and what's been reported is that AI interest right now is down. We've been seeing declines not only in some of the startups, but also in some of the main AI platforms such as ChatGPT. What we've seen is that ChatGPT interest, website traffic has been down over the last few weeks and months as it relates to the earlier months that it's been operating as. That may not be the only thing that's of interest. Also, the main donor of ChatGPT, Microsoft, who invested over $10 billion in ChatGPT, are also not really seeing a huge return on investment.
How is that possible?
They invested $10 billion and also integrated ChatGPT into their search engine Bing. And at the beginning, they had a total market share in terms of search for Bing of 1%. When they integrated it, they still have 1% market share for searches. It doesn't seem like they're seeing a huge return on investment. ChatGPT itself, it's burning around $700 just to keep the site operating, and most of that is like free traffic. There are some paid tiers that get access to the latest and greatest large language models and latest features that they offer, but a lot of the site traffic is indeed free. So if it's burning $700, getting $10 billion from Microsoft, and it's still not seeing, better and greater returns as far as traffic, site interest, and maybe not even seeing as much paying customers, does that mean that's the end of ChatGPT and maybe AI tools and technologies? Also, a trend in total was, Google search trends. There's not a lot of AI hype. Even though that may be the case right now, I think that may not be the only thing that's halting it right now. We're also seeing a lot of legislation coming out talking about how AI, artwork and AI generated things cannot be patented because they're saying a human has to be the sole person who creates, and that's the bedrock in which creativity and ownership relies upon, and not, AI. Which is an interesting standpoint and take, but also there's other things that are coming out in the media that are not favoring AI, as far as different lawsuits from different artists who are, saying that these AI platforms are stealing their art illegally and using them without, being compensated. Even actors are saying they don't want this. There's an entire actor strike going on at the moment that are striking. One of the main reasons is they don't want their face and their likeness to be used in AI, and they be cut out completely of the artwork in the medium.
Why do they do this?
So it's a lot of things going on right now, as well as we're in a recession. Or some people like to say we're not in a recession, or we're about to enter a recession, but we're not in the best economic times. Let's just put it like that. And it may be a lot harder for people to find interest in these new and emerging technologies and sit down and take upon themselves to dive into it and learn these things. And most people are thinking that may be horrible, but at the same time, I think it's normal. Every technology has their ebbs and flows, has their booms and bust cycles. Even the whole economic market does. So even though that may be scary, I would take a few steps back and ask why. I would think that one of the main reasons why is because a lot of people who are using ChatGPT was students and researchers. And if you know, over the summertime, which has been the last few months, students have been out for summer vacation. A lot of college students, grad students aren't really in the mix right now as terms of actually going to school on a daily basis, or maybe have a lighter workload in general to not have an actual need for ChatGPT at the moment. If you think about it, AI and different AI platforms aren't necessarily something you may need on a day-to-day basis. It's a very powerful tool, but you don't need it unless you need it, right? Also, what's happening with the search features with Bing and even Google. Google is also having some trouble with their searches, which they're trying to hold market share. But what they're seeing is the overall trend is that other people are going to social media websites and searching for a lot of these search terms in order to get information, find new things, and learn. Which is taken away from, search engines like Google and, YouTube, which is owned by, Alphabet, who owns Google, are also feeling this. So there's more than one reason, and that is the lack of interest. And me personally, I don't think this is the end of AI, but I do think we're in a lull period. I I think the people who are going to get in on this lull period before there's another big boom, another big exciting technology or another improvement on top of technology, they're going to be the ones that make out on it the most, especially right now while it's open source. A lot of people can learn more about it. This may be the best time to hop on it, especially because the CEO, I think, of OpenAI, which is the people who made ChatGPT, they're saying that they may not be in favor of having all this AI stuff open source and open to new technologies, even though that's kind of what they did in order to get to where they're at. They're saying it's maybe a risk to have all this just open to the public, given the inherent risk and dangers associated with AI. It may be a time where there's a lot of red tape and people are kind of scared about the future of AI and where it may be heading at. But I think the people who early adopt, like in almost every industry that booms, you're in the right spot. But tell me what you think. Do you think this is the end of AI and AI platforms like ChatGPT? Or do you think this is just the beginning and you're ready for it? With that said, your boy Dex.